For 300 years, the galaxy had believed that humanity was dead, not defeated, not hiding. The official records of the Galactic Assembly were clear. Species, human. Homeworld, Earth. Status, extinct. The declaration had been made 2 centuries ago after the Battle of Sol, when the combined fleets of 17 alien civilizations had entered human space. They expected a war. Instead, they found silence. Earth's colonies had gone dark one by one. Mars stopped transmitting. The lunar cities disappeared. The massive shipyards around Jupiter went silent. Then Earth itself vanished behind a cloud of artificial debris. The galaxy watched for 20 years. No human ships came. No distress signals were detected. No survivors were found. Eventually, the Galactic Assembly officially closed the case. Humanity was extinct, and the galaxy moved on. For 200 years, humans became nothing more than a historical footnote. A dangerous species that had once refused to surrender. A primitive civilization that had challenged the galaxy's greatest powers. A civilization that had disappeared. But the truth was very different. Humanity had not died. It had been waiting. And on the morning of the 17th galactic cycle, someone finally discovered the truth. The first warning came from the outer edge of galactic territory. A small scientific station orbiting a dead star detected something unusual. At first, the station's sensors registered a gravitational disturbance. Then another. Then 10 more. The station commander, an elderly Varkari named Commander Threx, stared at the readings. Asteroids? He asked. No, Commander. Comet fragments? Negative. Then what are we looking at? The sensor officer hesitated. Ships. The command room went silent. Threx stepped closer to the display. How many? The officer swallowed. 112. Threx frowned. From where? We don't know. Identify their species. The officer's hands moved rapidly across the console. Then his face changed. Commander. What? We've identified the hull configuration. Threx waited. The officer whispered the words that would change galactic history forever. Human. For several seconds, nobody moved. Then Threx laughed. Not because it was funny. Because the alternative was impossible. That's not possible. I know. Humanity has been extinct for 200 years. I know. Then those ships aren't human. The officer looked at him. Commander, they're broadcasting an identification code. Threx's smile disappeared. What code? The officer turned the screen toward him. A symbol appeared. An ancient symbol. A blue planet surrounded by a circle of stars. Then a message appeared. Identification, Terran Defense Fleet. Threx stood frozen. Send the message to the assembly. The officer didn't move. Commander. Now. Across the galaxy, emergency transmissions began. Governments panicked. Military fleets mobilized. The Galactic Assembly called an emergency session. But before the assembly could respond, another message arrived. Then another. Then thousands. Human ships were appearing everywhere. Not 100. Not 1,000. The number continued rising. 5,000. 7,000. 9,000. Then the final count appeared. 10,000 warships detected. The galaxy had spent 2 centuries believing humanity was extinct. But humanity had spent those same 2 centuries preparing for something far worse than war. And now, they were coming home. The Galactic Assembly had faced wars before. It had survived invasions, rebellions, and the collapse of entire civilizations. But it had never experienced fear like this. Because fear was understandable when an enemy was approaching. This was different. The enemy was already here. Across the galaxy, military sensors were detecting human warships. Not approaching. Not traveling through hyperspace. Appearing. One moment, empty space. The next, a human battleship. Then another. Then hundreds. Then thousands. Every major civilization activated its emergency defense protocols. The Drakari Dominion deployed its largest fleet toward the Sol system. The Varkari began evacuating border worlds. The Zorvak's dominions sealed its military headquarters. And inside the Galactic Assembly's central chamber, hundreds of alien representatives watched the tactical display in complete silence. The holographic map showed red symbols appearing throughout the galaxy. Each symbol represented a human warship. The Assembly's Supreme Chancellor, Velar Thuin, stared at the display. "How many now?" The military coordinator answered immediately. 10,000, Chancellor. "And their origin?" "We still cannot determine it." "Impossible." "Yes, Chancellor." Velar turned sharply. "Nothing is impossible. Find their entry points." "We have." The room became silent. "Well." The coordinator activated another display. The red symbols disappeared. Then a single location appeared. Every human warship was connected to one point. The same planet the galaxy had declared dead 2 centuries ago. Velar slowly approached the hologram. "How many ships are currently in the Sol system?" The coordinator looked down at his console. "None." Velar stared at him. "What?" "The fleet isn't in Sol." "Then where are they?" The coordinator's voice became quieter. "Everywhere." A new display appeared. Human warships had appeared near hundreds of strategic worlds. Military bases. Supply routes. Jump gates. Industrial planets. The humans had positioned themselves at every critical location in the galaxy. But they hadn't attacked. Not yet. That was what terrified the Assembly. If the humans wanted revenge, they could have already started. Instead, they were waiting. Then the Assembly received a transmission. The source was unknown. The signal passed through every security system without resistance. The lights in the chamber dimmed. A human appeared on the main holographic screen. He was wearing a dark military uniform. No medals. No decorations. Only a simple silver symbol on his chest. The same symbol that had appeared on the ancient human ships. Earth surrounded by stars. The man looked directly at the alien representatives. "My name is Admiral Marcus Vale." Several representatives began whispering. The name was familiar. Very familiar. Marcus Vale had been one of humanity's greatest military commanders. According to historical records, he had died during the Battle of Sol. 200 years ago. Velar stepped forward. "Admiral Vale, by order of the Galactic Assembly, identify your fleet." The human admiral smiled slightly. "You already know who we are. Humanity is extinct." "No." Vale's expression hardened. "Humanity was declared extinct." The room fell silent. "There is a difference." Velar's voice became angry. "Your species disappeared. Your colonies fell. Your homeworld was destroyed." Vale looked at him. "You destroyed our homeworld." A cold silence filled the chamber. The historical records suddenly felt very different. Vale continued. "You believed the Battle of Sol was the end of humanity." Behind him, a massive window opened. The image of Earth appeared. But it wasn't the Earth the galaxy remembered. The planet was surrounded by enormous orbital structures. Thousands of shipyards. Defense platforms. Artificial moons. And beyond them, a fleet. The Assembly watched as countless human warships emerged from the shadows. Massive battleships. Carrier groups. Dreadnoughts. Ships larger than cities. All bearing the same symbol. Vale spoke again. "You thought we disappeared." His eyes narrowed. "We didn't disappear." The screen shifted. The image of 10,000 warships appeared behind him. "We went somewhere you couldn't follow." Velar's voice trembled. "Where?" For the first time, Admiral Vale smiled. "Beyond the edge of your galaxy." The Assembly froze. Vale leaned forward. "And we weren't alone." The transmission suddenly ended. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then the tactical display began flashing. A new fleet had appeared. Not 10,000. Not 20,000. Something much larger. The military coordinator stared at the numbers. His face turned pale. "Chancellor." Velar looked at him. "What now?" The coordinator whispered. "We're detecting another human fleet." Velar's eyes widened. "How many?" The coordinator looked up. 30,000. And then another transmission arrived. This one contained only 6 words. The second fleet has arrived. The Galactic Assembly had no answer. For the first time in its 1,000-year history, the most powerful governments in the galaxy were completely blind. 30,000 human warships had appeared beyond known space. And nobody knew where they had come from. The Assembly's military commanders demanded an immediate strike. Others demanded negotiations. Some suggested surrender. But Admiral Marcus Vale had made no demands. No threats. No declaration of war. Only one message. The second fleet has arrived. Then the galaxy went silent again. For 3 days, nothing happened. 3 days of unbearable tension. The Galactic Coalition moved 20 million soldiers toward the Sol system. The Drakari Dominion positioned its most advanced battle fleet near the human border. The Zorvax activated planetary defense networks. Every civilization prepared for the greatest war in galactic history. But Earth remained silent. Then, on the 4th day, something happened that nobody expected. A human ship entered Galactic Assembly territory. One ship. No escort. No weapons activated. It slowly approached the Assembly's capital world. The entire planetary defense system locked onto it. Thousands of orbital cannons aimed at the vessel. The ship was enormous. Its hull was black and silver, covered in scars. It looked ancient, almost primitive. But every sensor in the galaxy knew one thing. It was dangerous. The Assembly ordered the ship to stop. Instead, the vessel transmitted a message. I request permission to speak. The Assembly debated for 6 hours. Finally, they accepted. The ship landed inside the Assembly's central military station. Its doors opened, and Admiral Marcus Vale stepped out. The same man who had appeared on every screen in the galaxy. Velar Thuin personally met him. You have caused considerable panic. Vale looked around. Good. Velar's eyes narrowed. You are in no position to threaten the Assembly. Vale smiled. Chancellor, if I wanted to threaten you, you wouldn't be talking to me. The room went silent. Velar controlled his anger. Then explain yourself. Vale walked toward the main display. The image of Earth appeared. You destroyed Earth 200 years ago. Your historical records say otherwise. Your records are wrong. Vale touched the display. The image changed. A massive fleet appeared around Earth. Then the image zoomed in. The Assembly saw millions of human ships. Not 10,000. Not 30,000. Millions. The representatives gasped. Vale continued. The fleet you detected is only our outer defense. Velar stared at him. Then what are the other ships? Vale's expression became serious. Builders. The room became confused. Builders? Yes. Vale showed them another image. It was Earth. But beneath the surface were enormous underground cities. Human civilization had survived. Not only survived, it had evolved. During the final battle, humanity had realized that it could never defeat the combined forces of the galaxy. So they made a decision. They disappeared. They abandoned their colonies. They shut down every communication network. They destroyed their own records. And they left. But they didn't run. They went beyond the galactic frontier. There, humanity discovered something ancient. Something that had existed before the oldest alien civilizations. A region of space called the Silent Expanse. Inside it were abandoned worlds. Dead civilizations. Technology millions of years ahead of anything known in the galaxy. Humanity spent 2 centuries studying it. Learning. Building. Preparing. Vale looked at the Assembly. We didn't spend 200 years preparing to attack you. Velar slowly asked. Then why are you here? Vale didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked toward the massive window. Outside, thousands of alien ships surrounded the station. Because something is coming. The representatives exchanged confused looks. What? Vale activated the main display. A region beyond the galaxy appeared. A black void. Then something moved inside it. Something enormous. The sensors couldn't measure its size. The image expanded. and expanded, and expanded. Finally, a terrifying shape appeared. A fleet. Millions of ships. Not human. Not alien. Something else. Vale spoke quietly. We found them beyond the edge of the galaxy. Veeler stared at the display. Who are they? Vale looked at him. We don't know. The lights suddenly flickered. Every alarm in the station activated. The tactical display turned red. A military officer rushed into the chamber. Chancellor. Veeler turned. What happened? The officer was breathing heavily. Something just entered the galaxy. How many ships? The officer looked terrified. None. Veeler frowned. Then what entered? The officer pointed toward the display. A single red symbol appeared. Then another. Then hundreds. Thousands. Millions. Vale slowly turned toward the screen. For the first time, the legendary human admiral looked afraid. Veeler noticed. You know what this is? Vale's voice was barely a whisper. Yes. What? Vale stared at the approaching darkness. The reason humanity disappeared. The room fell silent. Then every human warship in the galaxy activated its weapons. 10,000 ships. 30,000. Millions more beyond known space. All targeting the same direction. The galaxy finally understood. Humanity had not returned to conquer the galaxy. Humanity had returned to defend it. For the first time in galactic history, every civilization saw the same thing. Humanity was afraid. Not the Galactic Assembly. Not the Drakari Dominion. Not the Zorvax fleets. Something else. Something coming from beyond the edge of the galaxy. The warning reached every inhabited world simultaneously. Unknown fleet entering galactic space. The first enemy ships appeared near the outer rim. Then thousands. Then millions. They were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Their vessels had no engines. No visible weapons. No windows. They looked like enormous black structures drifting through space. But wherever they traveled, stars disappeared. Not exploded. Not destroyed. Simply gone. The Galactic Assembly watched in horror as entire solar systems vanished from the map. The Drakari fleet fired first. 10,000 warships launched every weapon they had. Missiles. Plasma. Antimatter. Planet-killing energy beams. The enemy fleet continued moving. The weapons passed through them. Nothing happened. Then the black ships responded. A single wave of energy crossed the battlefield. The entire Drakari fleet disappeared. 100,000 soldiers. Gone. The galaxy panicked. Veeler Thuin immediately contacted Admiral Vale. Admiral, your fleet has to stop them. Vale stared at the tactical display. We're trying. Then why aren't you attacking? We are. Veeler looked confused. Your ships haven't fired. Vale's eyes remained fixed on the screen. That's because we're not fighting yet. Then what are you doing? Vale answered with 3 words. Waiting for Earth. Veeler stared at him. Earth. Vale nodded. Everything you've seen so far is only the enemy's advance force. The Chancellor felt a cold chill. How many are there? Vale hesitated. Then he gave the answer. More than the galaxy can count. The communication ended. For the next hour, the human fleets remained completely silent. Then something changed. Every human warship in the galaxy turned toward Earth. 10,000 warships. 30,000. Millions of hidden vessels. All aligned with the same destination. The Sol System. The galaxy watched. And then Earth spoke. For 200 years, humanity had remained silent. Now, for the first time, every communication network received the same transmission. A woman's voice. Steady. Ancient. To every surviving civilization of the Galactic Assembly. The voice paused. You once believed humanity was extinct. Images appeared. Earth burning. Human colonies collapsing. Children being evacuated. Cities being destroyed. The final battle of Sol. The galaxy saw the truth. Humanity had not lost. Humanity had chosen to leave. We knew we couldn't defeat them then. The images changed. Human ships disappearing into hyperspace. Thousands. Then millions. We knew that if we stayed, they would follow us. The screen showed humanity entering the silent expanse. And there, humanity built. 1 ship became 10. 10 became 1,000. 1,000 became millions. The woman's voice continued. So we became the shield. The galaxy finally understood. Humanity had spent 200 years fighting the enemy beyond the galaxy. Alone. Every time the enemy attacked, humanity pushed them back. Every time the enemy advanced, humans sacrificed worlds to slow them down. And now, the enemy had finally broken through. The woman continued. We held the line for 200 years. The pause. Now the line has fallen. The galaxy waited. Then came the final message. Which means we need your help. Veeler stared at the screen. The galaxy had expected humanity to return seeking revenge. Instead, humanity was asking for help. For the first time, the Galactic Assembly had to make a choice. Fight beside the humans, or die alone. Veeler immediately ordered every available fleet to prepare. One by one, alien civilizations joined. The Drakari, the Varkari, the Zovets, even former enemies. Millions of ships gathered near the galactic core. But then Admiral Vale contacted the assembly. There's one more thing you need to know. Veeler answered. What? Vale looked serious. The 10,000 human warships you first detected? Yes. They aren't our main fleet. Veeler's blood ran cold. Then what are they? Vale looked toward the stars. Those are the ships we sent to warn you. Suddenly, space itself began to shake. Beyond the galaxy, something enormous emerged. A shadow larger than a solar system. Then another. And another. The enemy had arrived. Vale gave one final order. Open the gates. Across the galaxy, ancient hyperspace gates activated. And from the darkness beyond the stars, the real human fleet finally came home. The galaxy had spent 200 years believing humanity was extinct. Now, every surviving civilization watched as the truth finally arrived. Beyond the edge of known space, the darkness moved. The enemy fleet was coming. Millions of black ships crossed the galactic frontier, swallowing entire star systems as they advanced. The combined forces of the Galactic Assembly stood ready. Millions of alien warships. Thousands of planetary defense platforms. The greatest military alliance the galaxy had ever seen. But even together, they were still afraid. Because they had seen what the enemy could do. Then the hyperspace gates opened. One after another. Across the galaxy. The first human warship emerged. Then 10. 100. 1,000. The stars began to disappear behind them. 10,000 human warships. Then 100,000. Then 1 million. The galaxy watched in absolute silence. Human battleships filled the darkness. Massive dreadnoughts. Planetary carriers. Titan-class warships. Ships so enormous that entire alien fleets looked tiny beside them. And behind them came something even more terrifying. The original human fleet. The fleet that had fought alone for 200 years. Every ship carried scars. Every hull showed evidence of battles fought beyond the galaxy. Some ships were missing entire sections. Others had been repaired with unfamiliar technology. But they were still flying. Admiral Marcus Vale appeared on every communication channel. His voice was calm. Humanity. Across Earth, Mars, the colonies, and every human settlement hidden beyond the galaxy, people listened. Today, we end the war. The human fleet moved forward. The enemy responded. The galaxy exploded into light. Millions of weapons fired simultaneously. Human dreadnoughts launched massive energy beams. Alien fleets joined the attack. For the first time, humanity was no longer fighting alone. The enemy fleet began to collapse. But then something unexpected happened. The largest black structure in the enemy fleet opened. A massive energy wave spread across space. Human ships began disappearing. 100. 1,000. 10,000. The alien fleets panicked. Fall back. The order came too late. The enemy weapon was charging again. Then Earth appeared on every screen. The planet was no longer hiding. For 2 centuries, humanity had protected its greatest secret. Now Earth revealed it. The planet itself began to transform. Massive structures opened across its surface. The oceans moved. The continents shifted. And beneath the planet's crust, something awakened. A weapon. Not a ship. Not a fleet. A planetary defense system built over 200 years. The Terran last light. Admiral Vale gave the order. Fire. Earth's weapon activated. A beam of pure energy crossed the galaxy. It struck the enemy flagship. For the first time, the enemy stopped. Then the black ship began to break apart. The enemy fleet followed. One by one, the massive vessels collapsed. The galaxy watched as the impossible happened. Humanity was winning. But Vale knew the war wasn't over. The enemy flagship transmitted one final signal. A message. A warning. You have remembered too late. Then it disappeared. The remaining enemy ships retreated beyond the galactic frontier. Silence returned. For several minutes, nobody spoke. Then the Galactic Assembly received another transmission. This time, it wasn't from Admiral Vale. It was from Earth. The same woman's voice spoke again. Humanity was declared extinct 200 years ago. The galaxy listened. We allowed you to believe it. The screen showed Earth. Millions of human cities glowing beneath the clouds. Our disappearance was never an escape. It was preparation. The image changed. The human fleets appeared. 10,000 warships. 30,000. Millions. We didn't return because we wanted revenge. The woman's voice became stronger. We returned because the galaxy was about to face the same enemy we had been fighting alone. The assembly finally understood. Humanity had never been the galaxy's greatest threat. Humanity had been its shield. Then Admiral Vale appeared one final time. He looked directly into the camera. You called us extinct. A small smile appeared on his face. You were wrong. Behind him, 10,000 human warships formed a massive formation. Their weapons powered down. Their engines began to glow. And the galaxy heard the words that would become legendary. Humanity is not extinct. The fleet turned toward the stars. We're just getting started. 200 years after humanity vanished, the galaxy finally learned the truth. Humanity hadn't disappeared. Humanity had been preparing. And somewhere beyond the edge of the galaxy, the enemy was still waiting. Because the war wasn't over. It had only just begun.